Well, today we have a guest with us in the studios, and I'm going to ask the guest to tell the folks who you are.
Okay,
And you grab your microphone over there. I'm sorry,
okay.
they should have put it in front of you, but they didn't do that. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm John Peters. I'm
Okay,
the
John.
DFL candidate for SD5
Okay.
here, which goes down from LaPorte down to Sauk Center and from Lakeshore and Cass Lake over to Detroit Lake. So it's a fairly big district.
Oh, it's a giant district.
Yeah, and I'm a rural Democrat. I consider myself closer to Colin Peterson than I do to Omar.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm at because I worried about the general issues. Okay, just a little history about myself. I grew
Well,
up
we
in
want to find out about you personally, too.
Yep. I grew up in Shelby, Iowa,
Okay.
a town of 533 people.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the largest high school graduating class of 34. So, I come from the rural areas on there. But my folks ran the grocery store there.
Okay.
And my mom was a taskmaster.
Uh-huh.
I mowed lawns, I shelled corn, I baled hay. In Iowa, we didn't have rocks, so I never had to do that. I dug graves, and I delivered groceries for my parents.
Now, where in Iowa is that?
It's close to Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, okay. You're down in the southwest.
Down in the
corner
very southwest, on Interstate 80,
Mm-hmm.
on there, pheasant hunting area.
Mhm.
So that's and a lot of corn, and just a little thing in high school football. My junior year, I was the smallest defensive lineman starting, and I
Mhm.
weighed 240 pounds. So we had some big farm boys.
Yeah, I guess so.
But my
How
folks,
did you do?
well, we lost a game.
You lost our game?
A game.
Just
yeah.
one, huh?
Well, my sophomore year when I started, we lost 4, but after that we lost 1,
Oh, okay.
junior and senior. So
Well, that's not bad.
no, we did okay.
Yeah.
So, but my folks ran a grocery store,
Mm-hmm.
and during at beginning of the farm season, he would let the farmers do credit for their food all the way to harvest, and then let them pay for harvest.
Mm-hmm.
So that's taking people first.
Oh, yeah. That's,
Yeah, and that's the way. And he didn't charge interest back then. I don't think you'll see anybody doing that anymore today. You probably couldn't afford to do it anymore today. But as you went along, not only did he do that, he gave each of the kids a full-size candy bar. And I'm pretty sure you remember the difference between a full-size candy bar
And what they
then
call a full-size candy bar today.
now. Yeah, I mean it's a lot different. And farm country. Some of the families had 9 kids, so it'd be, and I'm pretty sure some of the dads took some of the candy before they got home, but kind of like Halloween. But then also he gave each of the churches their Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
The candy and the oranges for the goodie bags for the Christmas program, and he supported the high school sports and all that. And that's where I get my work ethic, and that's where I get my people ethic. Is I want to spend my time helping the people in rural Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now,
again,
where do you live now?
I live in Browerville, Minnesota,
Okay.
which it's on Highway 71. I live about 3 miles north on a little lake. On there, I have an office in Long Prairie. I've retired twice.
Well, what did you do for a living?
I'm a computer nerd.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Through my life, I've been an educator. When I got out of college, I taught high school for a while because I thought I could be an NFL football player, but the only thing I was lacking is talent on there. And then educator, and then I went into the computer business on there. I actually was an intern for the moon landing in 67, 68, 69, getting ready for that. Didn't really do anything too technical other than deliver the chili and the Cheetos and the Fritos to the programmers. And then after I did that, I went to work for an insurance company figuring out mathematical tables on pension rates. Then I went into Honeywell Research, where I got to work on what was called a proof of correctness on the space shuttle, on the Patriot missile, on the smart torpedo, and on the space station a little bit. And then I went into business for my own in 1989 after going into management. I hated management. I had to keep my hands dirty. So that's where I went. And so then I retired once in 1997. But then I semi-retired. I just opened up a computer shop in Browerville. But I managed to get sick, spent 200 days in the hospital from
Yeah.
1997 to 2002.
What the world did you have?
Well, it started with pancreatitis,
Yeah.
3 stomach surgeries, ulcerated intestine. It just kept getting worse, and then blood clots and things like that from having to lie around and taking all the medicine.
Wow.
So I'm kind of a biggie on health care.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, last election I ran against Paul Gazelka, but I spent the first month with COVID
No.
right on my back. So that was an interesting, and then not being able to get out and to talk to anybody. But so healthcare is big for me. I want to make sure that we have good healthcare on that. So as I work my way around that, I'm a big believer on doing my research, checking the facts, and being a nerd. I like my numbers. I took math in college. I actually went to college on a combination football, drama, and education, academic scholarships all at once. So can imagine the football player talking to the drama students and the drama students talking to the football player. I mean, that's something that you have to explain to each other about how they actually act on there. So on that, so healthcare is one of my major issues. The second thing is having been in education. Well, let's put it this way. After my 200 days in the hospital, I went from being fairly economically well off to being $200,000 in debt. And I couldn't get health insurance. So I went to the cities and started teaching college classes on there in computer science, networking, and programming. And did that for a number of years. Then, again, I retired about 3 years ago. I couldn't handle that. So in a month and a half later, I opened up another computer shop in Long Prairie where I repair computers, do some programming. And then also, what I also do is I specialize in teaching seniors how to use their computers, picking out what they need, and how to use their phones. So I have a classroom in which I do that. So
Okay.
that's where I'm at.
All right. In terms of government, you have no experience in government, or you haven't been in government before.
I have not been a government official. I worked with the government offices, especially when I was working in conjunction with the DoD. So no, I've never held public office.
What are your feelings about the governor of the state of Minnesota, Governor Walz? Would you, as a Democrat, be supporting him?
Yes, I do.
You do. Do you believe in what he's doing?
At about 80%.
About 80%. Okay.
Okay, I just to let I look at it. We seem to have a better economy than all the states surrounding us. We have the lowest unemployment rate. Like everybody else, I'm worried about the economy right now. But our economy seems to have been a perfect storm. We can't blame one person for anything that's happened. I think that's underestimating the total problem we're in. COVID hurt. China hurts. The fact that we do something with working our way through our supply chain. We used to do something just in time stuffing, which works really great when everything is going well. But when things break down, we don't have chips for our cars because we can't get them from China. We can't get our fuel transported. I'm a big believer in putting fuel depots around the area and here, so the trucks for the diesels on there, because the farmers are really hurting buying the fuel diesel. So we need to figure out how that. It's going to be a little while before we have electric vehicles that can actually do farming. I mean, that's just.
Well, what's your feeling about electric vehicles?
Well, I'm going to put it this way. I trust our engineers. Okay, look where we were at with telephones 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, and look where we're at today.
Yeah.
We take a look. I used the phone to get here today. I use the phone to check my nose, mail. I use my phone all this other type. We've come a long ways. I'm studying this, and our biggest problem, 1, is the grid. 2 is batteries. Those are our biggest problems with electric vehicles right now. There are 5 things that are going to be here within 4 or 5 years that will triple the battery life and make it 15 minutes to recharge. So that's going to be one thing. So, and it also looks like a car within 5 years, on the average, you'll get 600 to 800 miles per charge. So we're not there yet. I cannot use an electric vehicle today because I can't drive from Browerville to Park Rapids to Detroit Lakes on a single charge. I just can't do it. So it's not there today.
Well, the other thing you can't do either is when it's 40 below, you can't start it.
Actually, they start as well with the new technology as they do the cars with gas engines. I'm going to disagree with you there.
Huh. Okay. Wow.
So that's the experience in the lab.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so also the fact, I'm a big believer for the grid and nuclear.
Uh-huh.
I think if we would have nuclear here, there's a new project going on in Wyoming in which the nuclear plants are smaller. They use expended rods from the other nuclear plants. They have a fluid that keeps it cooler and safer. And if we would put one of these in this area, we could improve the grid so we could handle most of the people in SD5 where I live and have 2,000 new jobs for the next 20 years, which are highly sustainable jobs. So we have to work our way through the grid, improve the grid, work our way, get the new battery technology, and then it'll be there. So mandate it? No. But I think the technology will be there in the next 5 to 10 years.
What about mandating? Do you think the government has a right to mandate to the people what they have to do?
Only when it comes to life and death.
Well, no. That's a big bite. Life is one thing, but death, they have a right to tell you when you die.
No, I didn't say that. What I meant to say, no, they don't have a right to tell me when I'm dying. I'm not Soylent Green.
Yeah.
Okay. They have a right to tell me to do something so I don't kill somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, as long as we're talking about life and death, where are you in regard to the abortion issue?
Okay, I have a little bit different view of that than almost everybody I know.
Okay.
Okay, my first thing is I want to reduce the want and the need for abortion. Every study I've looked at on there from the World Health Organization and from the other organizations, the places where abortion is illegal, there are more reported abortions than in the places where it is legal. I'll add to that in the Netherlands. If you go look up the Netherlands on there, medical care is free, abortions are free, birth control is free, the age of consent is lower. Kids start having sex at a later age than they do here in the U.S. Per 1,000 people, they have half the number of abortions we do. So if we take care of our women before, during, and after birth, we give them the emotional support, we make sure that they're supported financially on there safely, on there, we will reduce our abortions faster than setting up a law.
Okay, but do you believe abortion should be something that's legal?
Like I said, if we make it illegal, we're not going to cut down the number of abortions.
Well, I understand that, but do you believe that it should be legal?
I am going to stick with the fact that abortions should be legal because that'll cause fewer abortions.
Okay. Now, the question a lot of people have is they don't believe, a lot of people, when they murder an unborn baby, it should be a crime. And how do you feel about that issue? Do you think it should be a crime?
I think that's a religious issue.
Well, religion is a big part of our life.
Yes, I know, but some religions believe that life begins at conception.
Oh, yeah.
Some religions believe that life begins when it becomes viable out of the baby. Mm-hmm. Some believe it's only available when it's birth. Mm-hmm. And so what you're saying is one religion should override the other religions about when life begins.
Well, that's something that is very easily explained. if a baby is conceived, if there's conception, and nobody does anything and messes around or anything, that baby's going to survive for the full term, aren't they?
Not necessarily.
Oh, no,
Now
no,
about 40%.
I'm talking about a healthy person.
A healthy person.
Yeah, the baby most likely is going to survive.
We're going to have to agree to disagree on this whole topic.
You don't think the baby will survive?
I think there are a high number of healthy women that miscarries that you don't even know they've miscarried. I believe that the babies that are born out of uterus, and which essentially when you take that baby, it's considered an abortion. Okay? So I don't believe that it is murder in most cases.
Okay.
That's my religious belief.
Okay. All right. Well, that's everybody has a right to their own belief.
Yes, I know.
You believe in that?
Yes, I do
Okay.
believe in everybody has a right into their own belief.
Yeah.
You just can't tell me
Okay.
what my belief gets overridden by your
Yeah.
belief.
What about in the legislature? We had an incredible surplus,
I know.
and the governor did everything he could to get rid of it and dump it and spend it. And the Republicans tried to stop him from spending that money, but he spent it anyway. What's your feeling about taking the money from the people, which they do legally, but it's almost like a holdup, and then they don't return it to the people when they have a surplus? So what's your feeling on that?
Well, I'm going to give you two examples in my thing. One,
Okay.
I'm on the Todd County Broadband Coalition.
Okay.
We're trying to bring high-speed broadband internet available to every person in Todd County on there. That is severely underfunded, given the amount of money that we have to spend on there. The other thing is, when we're talking about these other things, I'm a director for Hands of Hope Resource Center, which works on domestic abuse for Todd and Morrison counties on there. What I have seen is we do not have enough health professionals, mental health professionals, to help prevent domestic abuse, and also the fact we don't have enough counselors in high school to prevent that. So what we have to do is increase the funding for education. We have to increase the funding for townships so they can do the roads. I went to several townships, and every place is complaining about the fact that they don't have enough money to do their roads and bridges. So we need to figure out how to get that money so we can get our roads and bridges. We need to figure out how to get the money to get the broadband. We have to figure out how to get the money in education so we have the proper classes, including more vocational education that they currently have on there. So that's some spending that could have been done. Now, one of the things is, if we take some of that state money and give it to the townships and give it to the schools, we can reduce property taxes. I've lived in states in which they have low income tax rates and high property tax rates. The money out of my pocket was higher in those states than it is here in Minnesota. It's all about my net gain. So if I have to pay more property tax and less income tax, it doesn't do me any good. When it comes to the farmers, a lot of their stuff is in property tax. So if we can get it so that the property tax is lowered, we will be less taxed than we are currently.
Well, the people in Minnesota have money taken from them by being overtaxed. And that's why they had a surplus, because they overtaxed the people. Now, where the tax came from, whether it came from property or income or wherever it came from, it still was an over amount of money that's taken from the people. And instead of returning that surplus back to the people, and people are more capable of managing their money than the government is. And if they returned that money to the people, it would have been a big economic impact to the communities. And when you have two counties, like you mentioned, that need broadband, those two counties, if they want broadband, they should figure out how to do it on their own. I mean, why should the people in Hubbard County, for instance, or the people in Todd County, in Wadena County and Becker County, why should they be people funding the other two counties to have broadband when the people in those counties, if they want it, figure it out yourself?
Well, first of all, Todd County happens to be 85th out of 87 for income on there. And second of all, that's exactly where we are in broadband. And I personally think when the businesses in Todd County do better, the businesses in Becker do better. Okay? So we're all in this together. Everybody is connected. We have to look out for each other. We have to make sure that, I grew up in a small town. So in the small town, yes, everybody knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
My sisters weren't allowed to sit in the car outside with their date because my mom said that everybody in town will know that they were making out in the car outside of the town. But when my dad had a heart attack, everybody was there. They helped him. We got everything done. So people have to help each other. And that's the key thing, is if we don't sit together and try to help each other, if I'm a little weak here, you bolster me up. If you're a little weak there, I bolster you up.
And I don't disagree with you one iota. I think people should help each other. But I think the people should have that choice, not the government telling them they have to help someone. In other words, I think the people should have that choice. And in your small town, the people have that choice, whether they would come to your house and help your dad and help you. So it's a little bit different when the government tells you how to live. And the government is supposed to be of the people, by the people, and for the people, not of the government, for the government, and for the legislators.
Yeah, but I do not believe that when the government is helping us build roads, when the government is helping us to get policemen trained and sheriff's deputies, because that's all from government money. Bridges are from government money. Okay? Broadband is just as important to rural areas as a road.
Okay.
Okay? That's where I grew up. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
And we would have more people moving to Todd County if we could get broadband up there.
Okay.
The other thing is, sometime we will have to. This is a separate issue. I'm getting off of that. But what I see is we have a problem with the fact that we want to bring businesses in to the area. The businesses say, "Do you have the workforce?" We say, "Not yet." So then we have to say, how do we get the workforce in? We have to get affordable housing.
Okay.
So we work there. We're running out of the time. I
The
see.
clock has bit us.
Yes.
Nice to have you here, and I appreciate you coming by and talking about what's happening in your election efforts, and we wish you the best of luck. We tell that to everybody that we talk to.
Yeah.
And thank you for being a part of our program today.
Yeah. And I'd just like to say, Paul and I have made an agreement. This is all about issues. There's not going to be anything personal.
All right.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you for the chance.